I'm gearing up for the publication of my forthcoming whisky book, A Dark History of Whisky, which I've told you about many times on this channel, and which I'm going to continue telling you about because, well, that's what we do. I'm drinking a straightforward blended whisky here over the rocks, which is White and Mackay. I like White and Mackay. So here's your whisky news. News that came in this week is that a Scottish whisky distillery, that's the Port of Leith distillery, which owns what is billed as the world's first vertical distillery. It's a big 9-story building, looking totally unlike any other distillery, which opened at Edinburgh in 2023, and they've just won a battle with the Douro and Port Wine Institute, who were based in Portugal, who took out legal action against the Port of Leith distillery for naming their whiskies the Port of Leith distillery. As I say, the Port of Leith distillery opened in 2023, and Onans Mackelbrigg applied to trademark the name the Port of Leith distillery. However, the Douro and Port Wine Institute, the body representing port winemakers in Portugal, made an objection and said that the use of the word Port of Leith would take unfair advantage of their reputation. The Institute requested a ban on the name Port. However, the Port of Leith distillery argued that the word referred to the harbour area in Leith rather than the spirit made on site, and the European Intellectual Property ruled rather sensibly that the Port of Leith distillery can be registered for spirits but not port wine or sherry, so they get to keep their name, the Port of Leith distillery, as long as they refrain from making port wine or sherries, which they don't do. It's a whisky distillery. You know, I'm always extolling the virtues of blended Scotch whisky on this channel, because I believe that blended Scotch whisky provides a wonderful experience if you're getting into whisky. And you know, we all love a good single malt, we all love an expensive single malt, but we can't always afford it. So the standard blended whisky, which stands up for a massive percentage of the whisky market, are pretty good. And White and Mackay, where with the master blender Richard the Nose Patterson, really delivers. White and Mackay is slightly smoky. It's almost biscuity on the palate. It's very nice. Bit of news here for bargain hunters who are looking for a single malt, and that is as Amazon have just dropped a single malt whisky with a good depth of flavour, and they've dropped the price by 24%. Whisky connoisseurs will all be aware of how much price of a good single malt can often set you back. For those looking to not break the bank, then Amazon have risen to the challenge with a few nifty deals on top-rated bottles. This includes dropping 24% off the Old Pulteney 12-year-old single malt. That's 24% of the price dropped off a 12-year-old Old Pulteney single malt. This is praised as a smooth drink. The single malt has become a favourite for its good depth of flavour, and right now, at this moment, at the time of filming, a 70cl bottle on Amazon can be bought for just £28.90p, which would usually set you back £38. So that means you're saving £10 on the deal. The 12-year-old Scotch has been matured close to the sea in ex-bourbon casks, and is said to provide vanilla and spice notes. Here are just a couple of reviews from Amazon. This whisky is the nicest affordable whisky available. Nothing with a similar price tag comes close. It's smooth, has good depth of flavour, and the salinity really enhances it too. Another review said, and as it's not cask strength, the mouth feels a little light, but that's to be expected. For £26, this stuff is an absolute steal and tastes better than a lot of whiskies at the double the price. If you're after something that tastes great but is inexpensive, then you won't be disappointed. So it's Old Pulteney 12-year-old single malt whisky, currently on Amazon on offer with 24% off the price. It comes in at £26, when in the shops you would be paying £38 for the experience. I'm just going to take another sip of the White and Mackay. White and Mackay, of course, is triple matured. Now, it's been said that the high taxes currently on the Scotch whisky industry are affecting the income that whisky brings in, the revenue that it brings in, especially to the government. And so the Labour government, Keir Starmer's new Labour government, Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves, excuse me, I've got to remain independent. The Labour government has been challenged to make good on Keir Starmer's promises to back Scotch producers to the hilt, after analysis suggested that the high taxes on whiskies are actually costing the Treasury money. The Labour government has been challenged to make good Keir Starmer's promise, as I say, to back Scotch whisky industry, after analysis suggested that high taxes on whisky are actually costing the government money. The 10.1 increase in excise duty last year has hit Scotch whisky producers in both of our constituencies incredibly hard, said SNP, Scottish National Party MP Graham Ledbetter. This not only affects domestic consumption, but also impacts key foreign markets. As a result, analysis done by the Scottish Whisky Association has shown that duty received by the Treasury has decreased by 298 million a year after the increased excise duty was introduced. So the government need to act on that, because governments, and if you purchase my book, another plug here, A Dark History of Whisky, we look at the way taxes have been imposed on whisky, not only Scotch but American, Irish, other whiskies, all through the centuries, and how the taxes have affected the market and the rebellions that the whisky producers often get up to. So that'll be in A Dark History of Whisky, which is published by Pen and Sword Books, out next year, February 2025, and it's available for pre-order now from Amazon. You can also get it on Waterstones. I'm not sure if they've got it up for pre-order, but you can pre-order it direct from the publishers. That's Pen and Sword Books. There'll be links down below. Now, a bit of good news here for me. I'm a Welshman. I love my whisky. And I do love my Welsh whisky. And it's great to know that Welsh whisky has just been given protected status. Nick Short of Penderyn Distillery, who's Penderyn are probably the best known of the Welsh distilleries. When Penderyn started out way back in 2000 and oh my god, I'm going to say 2007, and I'm hoping right, I think it was there. They were the first Welsh distillery in over 100 years. And anyway, Nick Short of Penderyn said that the drinks produced in Wales was genuinely world class, and the protective status secured this past year has confirmed that. So basically, Welsh whisky has been granted protection, which gives credibility and status to the drink. Single malt is one of 20 Welsh foods and drink products that are given protected geographical indication, much like Scotch whisky is protected under laws. That Scotch whisky, the laws clearly define what Scotch whisky is, that it can only be produced in Scotland, that it has to be matured again in Scotland for 3 years and a day, for a minimum of 3 years and a day, and so forth, that a certain amount of malt must be used, and so forth and so forth, that the ABV must not be below 40%, so it gives it protected status and clearly defines what it is. And now Welsh whisky has got that same status. The status is used to protect and promote products from a particular region or country, and it took 3 years for Welsh whisky to receive this protection, which involves an audit to confirm the single malt has been made in Wales. Penderyn is one of 5 single malt producers in Wales that can use the PGI status, which defends them from impersonation, affording similar protection, which brings them into parity with the protections bestowed on Scotch and Irish whisky. So that's really good news. Now the Darmile Distillery, which is another of the Welsh single malt distilleries, are really pleased to receive this protection. Now I tasted several bottles of Darmile whisky when I was working on my book, Dark History of Whisky. Again, I'm going to get another plug in here, out February 2025. The distillery sent me several sample bottles, and Darmile was superb. It's an organic whisky. Oh my gosh, the taste was incredible. Rob Savage Ostweder of Darmile said, "I think it's really great when you're trying to keep certain products alive because it's so easy to follow trends." So therefore, now Darmile, as well as other Welsh distilleries, got protected status, and they're completely over the moon. So that's it for the whiskey news. I'll just give you a quick pocket review of a book that I've read recently, and that is the 25th John Rebus novel by Ian Rankin. I recently finished this book, thoroughly enjoyed it. This sees Rebus, ex-detective Inspector Rebus, in prison for the manslaughter or attempted murder of Big Gerald Cafferty, Big J. Out of all the Rebus books, and I enjoy the whole series, this one, it's kind of a massive departure from the usual style. Rebus was a functioning police officer right up to Exit Music, and then Ian Rankin seemed to forget about the character for a while. He tried to concentrate on bringing the character of Malcolm Fox to life, and he did several novels with Malcolm Fox. But then Ian Rankin brought Rebus back, but this time he was a civilian who would help the police in cold cases. So the kind of, although there were differences in what Rebus could actually do, because he didn't have the full protection of being a functioning police officer, it was kind of, it was a difference. But this book sees Rebus, as I say, no longer a functioning police officer, but he's now in prison. He's a criminal, and I felt this was the best Rebus book I've read in a great many years. I met Ian Rankin recently, and he signed my book for me. Not this one. This is a first edition with handsome boards, but I had to buy this to replace the first edition I had, which was signed by Ian, because something happened on the night I bought the book. My daughter went into labour, gave birth to a baby in a car. I had to rush out. I was reading the book at the time and drinking a glass of whiskey. I dropped the book on the floor, and when I come back, my dog had ate my book. Yes, I know that's an excuse for which we used to use when we were kids, when we were going to school, because we hadn't done our homework. Sorry, miss, my dog ate my homework, but that's a true story. Hold on. Here is my copy of Ian Rankin's Midnight of Blue, the one the dog ate while I was out welcoming my new grandchild into the world, little Arthur. And as you can see, the book is signed there to Gary. Enjoy, Ian Rankin, and he's done his little knots and crosses, little logo down there. But look at that. My bloody dog decided to obliterate the book. I could have killed him at the time, so I went and bought another one, just because I collect Ian Rankin's books and I wanted a mint pristine first edition on the shelf. This is the book I read, though, this battered, mutilated book. So anyway, that's Ian Rankin's Midnight in Blue. That's the whiskey news, and also a little update on the dark history whiskey, which is coming along really well now. You can pre-order it now. So cheers, Solange, and I'll see you soon.